Hey folks, we are going to do some product review today. We're going to look at the Eldraine. Hold on. We're going to look at hold on. I don't know how to zoom. There we go. Yeah, we're going to look at Eldraine, the new monster manual that got released for Dungeons and Dragons. So I'm going to take a moment here to check my signal, go through my intro spiel, make everything is set up, and then we'll dive into what we're doing here. So kick back, relax, and if you're watching this after the stream, you can fast forward about a minute or so, and you'll get to the end of me tinkering around with stuff. So stay put, and we'll get this thing up and running here in a hot second. Make sure this is all doing what it's supposed to be doing. There, publish. Post is live. Okay, cool. Checking my signal here online. Here's play. There we go. And I want to pin this. Derp. I'm still learning how to do things. So pin this post, pin it. Unpin this. Unpin. There we go. I'm arranging my stuff. So give me another hot second for me to make this all click through. Here and here. And then we'll get to work here in just a minute. So hold on tight. I've got an intro spiel to do. And then we'll be able to officially start. Conversion announcements here, and I'm figuring out how to do things. Here. I always have a clumsy start because I don't know how to set things up yet. So I always do this intro stuff here in the beginning. So let me get through that real fast. Hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing game supplements. I illustrate them and then publish them online. I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition for the past number of years now, and there are a slew of links in the description down below that points to a number of them that I have previously created. So if normally folks, if they show up for artwork, you can check out the links down below. They're all free previews. I mean, buy them if you could, that'd be great. But generally it's free previews, so you know what it is that I'm building. And bop, 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 bop. Here we go. There. And there's about 150 illustrations amongst a lot of them so far. So, tap, 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 tap. Constructs, classes, constructs, so self-promote. There we go. And I wanted to drop word there. Okay, cool. So that's cool. I got done with all the things I have to click. So let's see. Let's get my windows rearranged here. And so if you want to support the channel, if you've tolerated me so far, thanks so much. If you want to support the channel, you can follow me on Twitter at Phil Kearney. You can like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications when I'm live in the future like this. And in addition, check this out. Find out more about monochromatism, patrons. Oh crap, I didn't post the fucking link. Hold on. Here is... Nope, that's not it. I have to... reopen. There it is. Here. There we go. My Patreon account here. I'm going to post this in the live feed chat. You can follow that link to take you to my Patreon, which I'll post down below once I am done with all of the chaos. But yeah, you can follow that there. That will, if you click that link, that'll take you here to Patreon. And this Patreon document will take you to the Monsters Compendium 4, Volume 4, Eldraine Creatures that we've set up in this document. So you can click and read along as we go through the process today. I don't assume we're going to be finished in one go. I only got a couple hours to play around, but we'll see how far we get. So I picked up the Monsters Compendium. Here's how it looks when you grab it off the D&D Beyond. We go to Game Rules and Collections, Monsters Compendiums. I'm not super proficient with this system yet. It's not intuitive to me at all. Okay, there we go. View all sources, and then Eldraine. There we go. Eldraine. And then, blam, it takes you to here, where we were at. So here's all the creatures. Here's some blah-de-blah about Eldraine. Now, Eldraine is a setting in Magic the Gathering. And this particular set is focusing on fairy type and like beanstalk giant type things that are in the Eldraine world of Magic the Gathering. And this document here, $6 on the DMsGuild, on D&D Beyond, which we have a link to here in the share doc. You can go take a look at that if you want to. But it basically has 25 creatures. The creatures that are in here are inspired by the creatures that are in the recent Eldraine, Wilds of Eldraine card set that just got released I guess last week or something for Magic the Gathering. So technically this piece is a cross-promotional tool. Magic the Gathering is a much bigger moneymaker than D&D is. So if they import things from Magic the Gathering into Dungeons and Dragons and you think that stuff is cool as a D&D player, that may incline you to go look at other stuff in the Magic the Gathering box sets, the artwork, or the gameplay, and decide you think that's cool, and then you become a Magic the Gathering player. When they made the Forgotten Realms set of cards, I guess last year, that was a cross-promotion that would take MTG players that thought the narrative and the characters, the creatures, and the artifacts that were in the Magic the Gathering card set for Faerun, for Forgotten Realms, that may get them to go look at Forgotten Realms more for the lore, because some people love MTG specifically for the lore. So bending that lore from D&D into MTG may motivate those librarians to hunt down and then become in love with Dungeons and Dragons. But it's far more profitable for them to pull D&D into MTG players than the other way around. But I'm a diehard fan either way. So I love both systems. I'm a big D&D enthusiast as well as an MTG enthusiast. Something that you may want to take a look at, because we will be referencing it during this process, is the 5-color mana spell point variant rules that are published on the DMsGuild. You can follow that link in the description down below to get you to this page. We're going to go visit the revised 5-color magic spell list. This is a pay what you want, but please consider giving me money book that I created that you can look at. And here's the full preview. See, if you look at, it says it's 11 pages down here, and if you check out the full preview, it's all 11 pages. And it's basically 11 pages of converting all the spells in D&D into the 5-color mana 5-color mana paradigm of white, blue, black, red, and green magic. Those cards are what needed in Eldraine to have bring those creatures, to summon those creatures to your battlefield to fight with you. And so what we've done in this document is, so the Eldraine, the actual document here, when we get into it, it's just basically a list from CR 1/2 up through CR 18, but it's presented in alphabetical order here. So like Archons of the Boundaries. This is apparently the art and the inspiration that they had to create this creature. So what we're going to do is we're going to just look at what this creature is and what it is that they've placed into it with its reactions, its abilities, and powers. And then we're going to look at the Archon of Boundaries, which is called the Archon of the Wild Rose in Magic the Gathering. So let's go visit that. So over here in Dungeons and Dragons, this is a, let's zoom in a bit. This is a CR15 creature. It's a celestial, and we'll take a look at it in a moment, but I wanted to draw our attention to, here is the creature in Magic the Gathering. See, it's the same art. So this is an Archon of the Wild Rose. It's the same art. They changed the names for the Innocent. The CR15 huge celestial over here. In the world of Magic the Gathering, it is a 4-mana creature, and it is an Archon, which is, it's not necessarily a celestial. This here is specifically just an Archon. So what we'll do is we'll look at the creature, its abilities here, and we'll see if how it stacks up to the powers that are given to the creature on the card. I don't assume there's going to be much correspondence between the two. But while we're at this, we want to look at, well, what kind of color-inspired powers can we give to these creatures? So then that leads us to looking at the revised 5-color magic spell list, because there is, in here, is a breakdown of how color works in D&D. The 5-color mana paradigm, instead of having the 8 schools of magic that are common to Dungeons and Dragons, by transferring the aspects of magic and types of damage associated with each color in Magic the Gathering card games to the spells detailed in the player's handbook and other published supplements. So, as a crash course for the unindoctrinated, the 5 colors of magic are, instead of devoting each spell to a school of magic, one of the 8 that are in D&D, instead they're devoted to one or more colors, and those colors are white, blue, black, red, and green. And we'll see those showing up again and again in the cards that we're looking at, inspired by the creatures here in D&D, but inspired by the cards that were published, I guess, last month. So when we go through that process, we can look at what makes a card white, what makes it blue, red, black, green, why. So each color represents various aspects of magic that are inspired by the rules and flavor text found on thousands of cards from Magic the Gathering, and they're listed here below. So white stuff has to do generally with divinity, healing, light, protection, and restraint, while blue is generally air, illusion, mind, suppressing things, and water. Suppressing is like preventing it from happening, while restraining is like placing a hold on or preventing, like blue counters spell. Like, it stops you from casting that spell, it kills your spell. That's very blue. But like protecting you, or like placing shackles on a creature to prevent it from attacking you, that's a restraint. So that would be more white magic than blue, though there's a lot of crossover. It's a minor distinction, but I thought it was worth pointing out. And you can fight me on any of these different aspects if you want, but if you were to pick this up, you'd get an editable spreadsheet of all the spells in the game for you to decide which colors you want. Like, you could change white into red instead if you wanted to. So if you pick this up, if you buy it, you'll get the PDF with it. If you just grab the pay what you want, it's just the list here for you. But so looking at the black is control, entropy, fear, the soul, and darkness. Red is aggression, earth, emotion, energy, impulse. Green is expressed as animals, healing, plants, nature, spirits. So these are different ideas, the different aspects of color magic that you can implement in your D&D game. And then the damage types that are associated with each color. White is associated with cold, force, psychic, and radiant damage, while blue is these are just generalizations. Blue is generally cold, force, psychic, and thunder damage. Black energy is typically acid, necrotic, poison, and psychic damage, while red is fire, force, lightning, and thunder damage. And then green is acid, cold, poison, and thunder. And then bludgeoning, piercing, slashing aren't devoted to any specific color at all. And then if you were to go down and break down the spells, like Druidcraft, it's green. I don't think anyone's going to contest that. Fireball, it's red. No one's going to contest that, right? It just makes sense. Light is white energy. That totally makes sense. But then you get into more interesting things like Eldritch Blast. It's a radiant force, like it's a force damage effect. So it would automatically, let's look at force damage. Force damage is white, blue, and red generally. So Eldritch Blast dealing force damage would be white, blue, and red magic to use it. So using these general principles, we can look at what things it is that they're giving the creatures and seeing how well are we aligned in the way that we've had this for the past 4 years on DMsGuild. How does that align with what they're thinking about, if at all, color philosophy involving creatures? So we know this is an Arcana Boundaries. We know that when we look at it on Scryfall or wherever, it's going to be, it's a white creature. So these are the symbols for white. So that's white and white. And then it's 2 additional mana. So this is if you're accumulating mana quickly, this will allow you to cast this spell at 4th, maybe 5th round, depending on what you have going on. It takes like in the first minute of a card game, you're going to be able to crack this thing out. As a CR 15 creature, that pushes you up into, well, CR 15 creatures like a CR 12 challenge to the party. So like it's equivalent to like maybe a 5th or a 6th level spell to summon one of these things. Like if you were to use Summon Planar Ally, for instance, like this might be a 6th level spell slot to do that. So, or it could be a 5th, depending on how you just want to shake it out. It's a 15 CR, so I think the game calculates that for you. So, but let's take a look at this thing. So we're going to do this for all of these. So now that I've gone through all the preamble, we can get into this, and we can take notes in this in the color comparison, Eldraine Monsters Compendium Volume 4. This document that we built, again, you can go to my Patreon, click into this, and read along for reference. So let's go ahead and look at the Archon of Boundaries. I'm just going to read through it and take a look at it, see if anything grabs my attention, and then we'll look at the card and we'll see what there grabs my attention. If everything seems straight, we won't belabor the issue. If we think there's cool stuff that we could do here, we'll spend as much time as we need to do it. So let's see, Archon of Boundaries, CR 15 creature, lots of hit points, low armor class. At CR 12, 15, level 12 attacking CR 15 stuff. If we were to get into a fight with this thing, you're going to be sporting a +4 to your proficiency bonus, and you're probably going to have a +4 to 6 in whatever stat or additional attack bonuses you may have. So let's assume a +5 there. So you're going to be sporting a +9 in general to hit this thing, and potentially with advantage. So if it's a +9, that means you're only going to, in general, need to roll an 8 or above. So you're going to hit this thing a lot. At 12th level, you're probably going to be doing around 20 damage on hits. Maybe a fighter's going to do like maybe 35, 40 points of damage per round. So you can knock this thing down in, well, a couple fighters could kill it in 1 or 2 rounds. So if you hit it with a shackling spell to keep it from fighting, shouldn't take long for an apt level team to obliterate it. So strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, charisma. It's got some hardy saving throws with constitution and wisdom, so you're not going to slow it down, you're not going to fool it. Insight and perception, that's great, it can be witty. Damage resistance is radiant. So again, we're looking at the card. It's a white card. It has radiant resistance. Radiant is white specifically. So it looks like we're on point with what Wizards of the Coast thinks about it. So radiant, let's get rid of the... Where did we go? Here we are. Let's see. Yeah, resistant to white. Conditioned immunities, exhaustion. That's great. Senses. Okay, sure. Languages, understands but can't speak. That's cool. CR 15. Prof bonus +5. Legendary resistance. 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. Legendary resistances 3 per day. Magic resistance has advantage on saving throws. Magic resistance is also on point for white magic. Magic resistance on point. Actions. It can take actions. Let's see what some of them could be. Let's see, look at its damage. Its damage is multi-attack. Claw, laser. Okay. Hooves. It's bludgeoning damage. Oh, it's radiant damage that it deals with its hooves. That's very good. Very, very good. Radiant Lance. One target, hit D12 plus 6 damage plus 8d6 radiant damage. Holy crap, this guy's got some punch. He can take down a 12th level rogue in about 5 hits, assuming that it's not using defensive roll. Whatever that thing's called. And uncanny dodge. Anyway, uncanny defense. And then, so maybe like 8 hits otherwise. So, pew, pew. The target is marked until the start of the Archon's next turn. While marked, the target has disadvantage on attack rolls against creatures other than the Archon. I love that. Let's go take a look at, for reference, real quick, let's look at Compelled Duel. Black and red energy. It's a suppression effect. Let's see, like, I like the Guardian feeling of it. The reason we have Compelled Duel is because it enrages your enemy, which is emotional red, and you're compelling them, which is forced, which has black vibes to it. But ward. It's warding bond. I think is probably a comparable effect. So let's see, warding bond white. There you go. Neat. So let's see. Goad effect when hit with Radiant Lance. Is that a ranged attack? Because that'd be super fucking dope if it is. Reach 10 feet. Nope. And it has spellcasting, which is Daylight and Lesser Restorations. How much you want to bet that's white magic? Daylight is white and green. That's fair. And Restoration is, that's a Lesser Restoration. I want Greater Restoration. That's a 4th. No, I thought it was a 4th. Maybe it's not a 5th, is it? Greater Restoration, white and green. Not bad. So far, this is lining up very, very nicely. Looks like our thoughts toward, well, lesser, sure. Looks like our thoughts about how color philosophy works in D&D is pretty much lining up with the home team. Reactions. I can take up to 3 reactions per round, but only 1 per turn. Archon's Pursuit. When a character marked by the Archon's Radiant Lance ends its turn within 120 feet of the Archon teleports to an unoccupied space it sees within 5 feet. And checking out our document here, let's go check out Misty Step. That's the fastest teleportation effect. That's some great range, by the way. I like that. Misty Step, white and blue. That makes sense. Misty Step, teleport. Immediately after a creature within 120 feet of the Archon forces it to make a saving throw, the Archon responds with a burst of light, which we know is white magic. The creature must succeed on DC 17 Constitution saving throw or have the blinded condition until the end of the creature's next turn. Parry. Added 5 to the AC. That stuff's all fantastic. I am really hip into that. So I think this is really well built. I think it represents MTG color really well, or rather, I can say I'm rather proud that my opinions about what sort of things should be white magic are apparently on point with how Wizards is reading it. So let's go. Let's see. Consider making Compelled Duel white magic, which I am open to. Color mana revisions. card conversions. Let's see, D&D, MTG, I don't know if faithfulness is the right word. Flavor. There we go. So we have flavor, we have the card conversions, and then we're going to have the lessons that I'm learning from each of these cards, because once 6th edition comes out, or 1DD is published, I'm going to be converting all of my color mana stuff over to the new edition and making sure that it stays compliant, because MTG and D&D is only going to get more popular over time. So it's worth checking out and it's worth getting into. So let's take a look at our card conversions. Actually, I'm gonna pick this up. Yeah, let's do this. All right, good enough for now. We can continue the effort later. Let's see. Creatures and card links. All right, so let's do our card conversion. That's where we're at. Here we are. All right, flying. Other creatures you control that are enchanted by auras you control have base power and toughness 4/4 and have flying. This is also a 4/4 creature. 4/4 in Magic the Gathering. Once your creature has a toughness, the second number, more than 3, it's difficult to kill it. Like you can, like if a creature has up to like a toughness of 3, you can generally. Like you can pick it off with with a 1 mana spell, like right out the bat. Like it's called a cantrip. It only costs 1 mana. It's D&D cantrips don't cost any mana, but you know, differences. So a very inexpensive spell to be able to pop off and kill one of these creatures. Like it's like it's like first tier. First tier creatures would have like CR like CR less than a CR2, like CR1 and less, would be equivalent to what a 3 toughness would be. So a 4 toughness is like you're starting to get into like it's difficult to one-shot an ogre until you're like 8th or 9th level. And then you've got a chance of being able to one-shot one, like as a melee, you know. And it'd be an expensive resource for you to be able to drop an ogre in one hit. You could potentially do it like with a fireball at 5th level. You're probably going to be able to something like like an upcast fireball at 4th level should be able to drop one. So that gives you a sense of power that we're looking at. Like this is producing second tier type creatures. Has power and toughness of 4 and has flying. So when this appears, all creatures you have sprout wings, can fly. If they're affected by an aura. Oh, that's interesting. So card conversion. If a creature is affected by an ally's aura, it becomes 4/4 flying. The trick is if it's enchanted by an aura, which, like, say, being in the aura of a paladin would allow you to gain flight, but unless the paladin themselves is flying, what good is it going to do you? Well, then you just make sure you have a paladin sidekick riding on the back of the horsey so that it has an aura, so the aura can self-affect the horse itself. Can that horse fly? Yes, this horse can fly. So that's fun. Let's go with that. So the creature is affected by it. But what also is an aura in D&D? So emanations, in D&D, auras are literally auras, like paladins or twilight cleric, shadow monk. These are aura effects. There's also auras are also considered when you are affected by a spell, when you are affected by magic. For example, Boots of Speed, Bless spell, are both magic effects, which count as auras. MTG auras. So in this case, as long as a creature that is allied to the stag is affected by magic in some way, it will gain the benefit of flight. And you can't just change things into a 4/4 creature. That's normally going to be a benefit if have base power and toughness 4/4. So like if you have bonuses on them, then you can continue to stack. But like if you have like Godzilla is an 8/8 creature, if you bring this out, your Godzilla is going to get dropped to a 4/4. So that gets wonky in D&D. So what we would do is we take that 4 and 4, and we would consider it generally one of these numbers can count as a 5. Here, I'll show you. CR to power toughness conversion. I don't actually have this written down anywhere, but this is something I've been fiddling with. Converting power toughness to D&D. So it would be each power equals this is like their damage output. So if you're a 1/1 creature, you can have up to dealing basically up to 10 damage per attack, and you're going to have up to 20 hit points, but you could have significantly less. This is your cap. At 2/2, having 20 to 40 damage that it can deal. 3/3 is 30, and it can take 60. 4/4 equals 40, 80, right? Seeing a pattern here. And so we can go up to 12, 120, 240, that would be 90, 180. So I'm not looking to do converting power toughness to D&D damage and like this would be a 4/4, so this could give you up to Where am I at? What are the stats on this? Hold on. This has 195. How can we break that down? I'm going to go with... I'm going to look at this. 195. This is about double where I'm at here. I'm wondering if we can... You know what? I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm just going to let the thing do. Because maybe we can actually find a system that evolves from this using the math that they're using. I wonder. That'd be neat. That'd be cool to see a code there that we could actually use. I don't know if it exists or not, but so we're looking at 195 hit points, and we'll see how other examples play out as we go through this. But the damage that this creature deals is, let's see what its average is per round, assuming that it hits 20, 32, 50, 60, deals 60 damage with probably a 66% success rate, so about 40. I was actually pretty accurate on the damage side. Kind of excited about that. We'll see if it stays true. Hey, there's a timely timer. So as we go through this, when we go through these 25 creatures, we're going to see if there's other cards that have a 4/4 toughness on them. Are they going to pan out to being around like this? So as we go through, we'll be able to flesh out each of these things and see where we actually end up in the power curve, to see if that provides us guidance towards creating, like, summoning creatures in D&D in the future, to have a potential an omni summon system that we can develop from the information we gather here. And maybe we'll go back to Theros, Strixhaven, and Ravnica and do a similar analysis to see if the numbers remain consistent that way. So I like this spread. I like that. I think that's cool. Let's see. So when this is going to convert something into a 4/4, I'm thinking... So let's see. What's the effects here? So enchant creatures affected by ally magic gain fly while within sight of the Archon. Creatures gain... It's a CR 15 creature. Gain 40 temporary hit points. Nope. Gain... Hold on. How many temporary hit points should it gain? Let's go check out the martial powers thing that I have a playlist called Martial Powers. Every Tuesday, I develop this mana system for martial characters like paladins, barbarians, stuff like that, fighters, rogues, that lets you spend mana on a... you can spend mana for boost effects, strike effects, quick magic things that you can do. Here, I'll show you an example of a couple, and then I'll show you why I'm showing you this. Like, why is this relevant to your life? But we've been converting all the subclasses for the half-casting and martial characters into this mana system. So there's a lot of conversion stuff. This is also a read-only. You can see that on my Patreon as well. You don't have to be a member to gain access to it. The mechanics here are effective for level 1 to 20. So you can use it like if you spend a point of mana, like when you make an ability check that can use acrobatics, stealth, skill, or the thieving's tool, when you make your die roll, you spend a point of mana. For every point of mana that you spend, you get a bonus to your ability check based on the number of mana that you spend and the level of your character. So here you can see if you are, say, this all has a super relevant point, I promise you. First level is first spell level or rank of power. second rank at 5th, third rank up to 9th, up to 5th rank at 17th level. At 5th rank, you're also rolling a d10. So if you spent 1 point of mana at 17th level, when you make your ability check, you would, if you burned a point of mana, like an inspiration die, you would roll that d10 and add that result to your die roll. It starts with a d6 at 1st rank, evolves into a d8 at 3rd rank, and evolves into a d10 at 5th rank. And depending on how many points of mana you spend will determine how many dice you can roll. So at 5th rank, at 17th level on 5th rank, I can spend up to 5 mana, allowing me to roll 1 die for each point of mana spent, which would be 5 10-sided dice. But in the d20 rolls, if it's damage, you add it all up. Like smites and other type of spells. You roll the damage, you add it all up, you add it to your weapon or whatever it is that you're doing. But if it's an ability check, a saving throw, if it's a d20 test, using one D&D language, if it's a d20 test, you roll as many dice as you want depending on how much mana you burn, but you only keep the best result. So if I spend 5 mana to roll 5 10-sided dice, I could get a 1, a 2, a 5, a 7, and a 10. I'll keep the 10, I throw away the rest of the dice, I burn that mana to up the probability of me getting a good roll. You probably don't need to spend 5 mana to get a good die roll, but it's going to refresh on a short rest anyway. So you may as well spend the stuff and take a nap. So, but I mean, you could probably get away with like 1 or 2 points, and at 17th level, you've got 17 mana plus a bunch of boost effects that give you extra free mana depending on what you're doing. But the point to all of this is, you can check it out at your leisure on my Patreon, but the point of all this is for monsters. We've taken the 4th edition solo monsters, soldiers, skirmishers, controllers, brutes, and artillery rolls for creatures from 4th edition, and we've converted them into a building guide. So let's see our power conversion. CR1 is rank 1, but they'd use a D4. So like if I had a goblin that had Rogue's Cunning and gained a D, it could if it spent mana as a mana effect as a goblin, then it would be able to roll as a creature, as an NPC monster. It would be able to use its mana to get a D4 die bonus to, say, thievery checks or for stealth. And so this is dictating how many powers you can know depending on what rank your creature is. Your creature's rank is determined by their CR. The CR of the creature that we're looking at right now is 15. So a CR 15 is 5th rank. So it could spend up to 5 mana rolling d12s on each of them if it wanted to. If it had like a persuasion boost, for instance, it could do 5d12. But the point to all of this is we have numerous effects throughout the book that grant you temporary hit points based on the amount of mana that you spend. So this creature could potentially spend or grant you up to 5d12 temporary hit points. And that's a pretty powerful ability. So it would either be available as an at-will ability, a once per round ability, or a once per encounter ability. So I would say at will, once per encounter, creatures gain 5d12 temporary hit points, which is going to convert to 2.5 times 12 is 48. Yeah. That doesn't feel right. Let's go with, let's use Mr. Math. Mr. Math says 5 times 6.5. Thank you. 32.5. 32 damage. Thank you. Temporary hit points. And once per Is there a once per round effect we can extract from the information on the card? Other creatures you control are enchanted by auras you control have base power and toughness 4/4 and have flying. You know what? There's nothing particularly here that jumps out at me as a once per round ability being extracted from the cards themselves. So I don't think I need to say anything else about that. So yeah, I think I'm content with this card. Let's get rid of that one. All right, cool. So, and what did we learn from this? That we can consider adding compelled duel to the white color mana list. That's the big lesson that we learned. But card conversion. So if I were to include this Archon in the martial power system that we're developing on, I streamed this on Tuesday, developing this. If I were to add the Archon to the list of power empowered creatures as like a solo, as a solo boss, for instance, then I would consider including these two little unique things to what that creature offers. It doesn't have a once per round, once per encounter. You know what? Let's do it that way. There we go. I'm going to grab this. There we go. My. So we're going to track this here and see how that all ends up. All right, cool. So we're done with our first critter. 24 to go. We will not be finishing this tonight, but I'll keep coming back and visiting this during the week. So if this stuff is interesting to you, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications of me in the future, and I would love to see you next time around. Beanstalk Worm. When giants' prized pets escape storm called villages fall and new Everstalks rise. That's awesome. Worms are enormous creatures that resemble limbless, wingless dragons, though they lack a dragon's breath weapon and keen intelligence. On the world of Eldraine, many worms have adapted to life among the world's skyscraping beanstalks. These beanstalk worms sport leafy growths, sustaining themselves on a mixture of natural photosynthesis and a carnivorous diet. That looks like, boy oh boy, that worm looks like it's a couple thousand feet long. I'd say it's maybe 2,000 feet long. That is, well, I don't know how far off screen it goes, but it could be up to 5,000 feet long. Boy oh boy, that would have a lot of hit points. If you want to know how many hit points something that big would have, you can check out my Spelljammer stream on Monday morning and ask me there. But obviously, this is going to be gargantuan and it's not going to have a lot of hit points in comparison. Its CR is 18, so that keeps it in the 4th tier. We have this creature listed as well. So let's take a look at how it plays out. Oh, it's got an adventure. How fun. Plant Beans, Sorcery Adventure. You may play... So these kind of cards, if you're not familiar with it, these kind of cards are 2 cards. So they you can play this card, and you can still play like the creature. This is the creature side of the card, but this is like a fun little thing that it can do in addition to this. If you play the creature out onto the battlefield, you can't use this one anymore. Like if you summon this, you can't use this sorcery. I would think it'd be cool that when you summon this creature, that's when you can use this sorcery. But these effects tend to be pretty strong in the game. You may play an additional land this turn. See, that's like gain extra mana faster than you normally would this turn. Like take a short rest in 10 minutes today. Like that's impressive, and it's low cost to do it. But we're on point with green. That makes sense to me offhand. Playing extra land is a very druidic feature, so that's very on flavor. You may play an additional land this turn. And then this creature has reach, which means it can attack things that try to fly overhead. It can reach them, which means that it's just got a lot of reach. When building as pets, escape storm cold, villages fall, and new Everstalks rise, because you have to play new land, which is what that bean is representing, new land that's being planted. I think that's such fun flavor. I love that. That's so great. So that's a fun effect. Let's look at what the card. Let's see what this creature does in D&D. So saving throws, strength and con. Green being strength and con is not uncommon. I tend to think of green as strength myself. White tends to be wisdom. Look at that. I have a saving throw bonus to my wisdom. Cheers. Where do I actually have that listed? Hold on. Let's jump back into this document. If we go down to the core mechanics for the color mana system, we can come back here to our spell. Let's refresh our memory on what green is all about. Green are animals, healing, plants, nature, spirits. A lot of that sounds redundant, but it's actually pretty different in D&D. And then green damage types: acid, cold, poison, thunder. Cool. Let's say giant size. What is that? A first level spell, I think? Yeah, enlarge is the name of it. Thank you. Entangles green. Is enlarge second level? Really? Okay. Enlarge. Green. And blue because of transformation. And red. What was it? It's definitely green. Why is it red? Remind me of that. Aggression, earth, emotion, energy, impulse. You know what? I could consider card conversion. Lessons learned. Remove, enlarge, reduce from red. Worth considering. If anyone has a compelling reason for me to keep it in red, let me know, because I'd love to hear it. Red. Fire, force, lightning, thunder. Nope. Yeah, I don't think I had. Originally, I was thinking that giants and enlarge effects are kind of earthy or fiery in Magic, but I don't think so. Hold on. Yeah, because MTG, like Giant Growth, MTG Giant Growth. I think that's a 1 mana green card. Yeah, classic card. Yep, 1 green. Makes it gives you +3/+3 till end of turn. It makes you really, really big, dealing more damage and taking more hit points. Fun stuff. Yeah, so we should consider removing. That's a good find. That's the ability for us to make this better. All right, cool. So let's get back into it. We're looking at a 5/4 creature. So 5/4. Let's see what kind of damage it does. As a 5/4. Hit points 231. This does not bode well for, well, actually, this actually does bode well, because, like, creatures that are going to be up here are going to have, like, ridiculous amounts of hit points. We'll see. I mean, this is already pretty high-level shit for D&D just to be a 4/4. All right. Let's keep assessing. So, let's see. No immunities. Ooh, false appearance. The worm is motionless at the start of combat. Has an advantage on its initiative roll. Moreover, if a creature hasn't observed the worm move or act, you must succeed a DC 18 intelligence check to discern that the worm is animate. Wow, and it's gargantuan, so it's huge. I mean, like literally gargantuan, more so than huge. It's a massive creature, like thousands of feet long, and you might not see it coming. That's terrifying. Leafy handholds. Creatures have advantage on ability checks made to climb the worm. So that would give you advantage on grappling checks. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. I love it. Legendary resistances, sure. Regeneration is also a very green thing to do. Excuse me. Multi-attack, it's bites. 30 points. 2 bites. 30, 30, 60. Again, we're at 40. And swallow whole. So, let's succeed or be swallowed by the worm. They're restrained. Total cover. 28 damage at the start of each of its turns. 2 creatures at a time, even though it's thousands of feet long. Come on, get with the program. You could swallow a whole Spelljammer ship with that worm. So if the worm takes 3 damage or more on a single turn, make a megafauna version for Spelljammer. That 40 damage feels weak. Oh yeah, but then it has the bite, swallow, glomp, glomp for an extra 28. So that's 88 damage, assuming 65%. Trim off a third. That's going to take you down to about 58. I'm gonna call it 50 because I'm stubborn. All right, okay, so what do we get to glean from this creature? See. Leafy handholds. That's so funny. It's a pretty basic critter, though. On point for green. I love all that stuff. Card conversion. So let's go revisit what the card does. So you have the adventure, and then you have reach. Let's see. At will. Extended reach can make bite attacks up to 100 feet. And then once per round. So if this were to be a summon on the battlefield, and then if the sorcery were available, like if this is something you could do over and over again once the creature is present, that feels like a what's the word I want? The entangle spell, right? Difficult terrain, like thorns and stuff reaching up and grabbing at you. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So, and that would be once per round. Entangling bramble. Entangling beanstalks. Can sprout beanstalk vines from its body or within 100 feet area around itself, creating difficult entwining beanstalks around itself, creating duplicating the web spell for all within the area without requiring a surface to anchor to. The webbing is flammable. But deal no damage to the worm. That's once per round to be able to create that. So that's pretty fun. Duplicating the web spell, able to restrain creatures of gargantuan or smaller size. There, that seems formidable. So we'll go with that. Do we have a once per encounter ability? Nah. There. And what we learned is I'm questioning if enlarge or reduce should be red. I think it's a great thing to question. Where are we at? 8:30. How long have we been playing? Hour. Okay. I think I've got one more in me, and then I'll be done for the night. But we're gonna pick at these things throughout the course. So hey, how are you? Let's see. The next creature that we're going to look at is the Deathless Rider. So here is let's get this card out of the way. These are the Eldraine, the Monster Manual Eldraine creatures that was published on D&D a couple days ago. We're looking at all the creatures that are in there to see how they compare to the cards that they have. If you check in the link there, I've got this link here will take you to this document that I'm building right now. The Monsters Compendium. I'm sorry, that link will take you to my Patreon, which you can then click through. You don't have to be a patron, but you can just click through and it'll take you to this. It's a read-only document, but you're welcome to read along with it. And here's the link, obviously, for you to be able to reference in the future. So we're going through all the creatures in here, and we're looking at some of the mechanics that they have in, how it compares to the colors of Magic the Gathering. We've been going through my MTG to D&D color guide that's linked down below among the 5-color mana spell point resources. Here, oh that's right, I wanted to look in here real quick. This is on the DMsGuild as well, and this is the free preview. So let's go down to the sources of magic. That's right, I didn't actually put it in here. Okay, I have a color philosophy about stats to color. I don't know if you're a color enthusiast yourself, but so there's white, blue, black, red, green. Equals. So, color to stats. Okay, so green is strength. And red is dexterity, but it could also be intelligence. However, blue is genius and creation and figuring stuff out. So that's more intelligence than anything else. Intelligence, manipulating people, and force of personality is a very black energy vibe. So that's charisma. And then white, wisdom, of course. So this is your stat breakdown for colors and ability scores. When I rebuild these books for the new 1D&D that comes out next year, we'll be able to add the ability score color philosophies in there, and then lean into the class design for each of the classes using that stuff. So hold on, let me go back to the beginning of the document. Here, there we go. And we have our color philosophies here in the revised color mana spell list. So we're on the green right now. I'm pretty happy, I think, with how we have this one broken down. Hold on. Dunbarrow. Archon. I think I need more spaces between things so I can pick them out more easily. Archon, and then we have the... See, I'm already done like the fourth thing. This isn't formatted very well. There, and then Archon. Where's my fucking worm? There's my worm. Oh, that's why. Cool. There we go. Worm. The lesson that we learned. Now we're going down to the Deathless Rider. We got this figured out? I think we got this figured out. Wait, what? Didn't we? I think I accidentally erased my at-will stuff because I thought I was in the wrong place. Checking down here. Fuck all. Alright, well, I'm an idiot, so let me fix that real quick. I remember what it was. It was This is the Archon, right? There you go. At will. Okay, getting shit straight. Okay, once per round, at will, and then the once per round is. Oh wow, I can't believe I actually deleted those. That was dumb. Okay, so hold on. Damn it. All right, at will is allies affected by magic gain fly speed equal to movement while they can communicate and see the Archon. Once per encounter, allies gain 5d 12 temporary hit points. Allies the Archon can see there. There we go. That's fixed that. And then we have the lessons that we learned from our color philosophy. And then we did the beanstalk worm. Maybe I just need to make these things bigger. Maybe that's the solution. How big is that anyway? All right, we're catching up. 17. Beanstalk. Now we're on to the Deathless Rider for real. Got all our shit fixed. So 15. There we go. Deathless Rider. Let's go check it out. Here's the card on MTG Card Realm. Let's open it. Oh, it's another adventure card. That's great. Adventures are cool as shit, man. Okay, so this is a 3/4. Sorry, a 3/1. So it's 4 mana total. And the Deathless Rider in the Monstrous Compendium. Let's see. CR is 5. Right. And it's 4 mana. CR. Okay. But it is and what's its strength? It's a 3/3. So this is the first 3/3 that we get to look at. 3/3 equals. Let's see what kind of damage it does, just to get that out of the way. It's black. Black magic, so mounted adept. We'll check that stuff out here in a minute. We're just going to resolve the damage. We're assuming a 65% hit rate. So the cumulative average damage will be multiplied by 0.65 to come to what our average damage is going to be. You can fight me over those numbers, but that's roughly 2/3 of the damage is good enough. Unlikely damage dealt per round. So multi-attack is 2 axes, and it can be a Fell Glare instead if you want. What does a Fell Glare do? Gazes at a creature within 30 feet of itself. The creature must succeed a DC 13 Wisdom saving throw, or be frightened fear. We already know from our color guide up here that black magic is fear. Black, control, entropy, fear, soul, darkness. So far, our color philosophies are on point with what Wizards also agrees with. So I'm happy to hear that. It's frightened. Can save at the end of its turn. Ooh, with disadvantage if it can see them. Ending the condition on itself is if successful. And the axe deals as a 3/3 creature. 13, 2 hits equals 26 damage. The 26 damage is then 2/3 of that is going to be 17. So a 3/3 is only dealing 17 damage. And its hit point total is 84. And this is the Deathless Rider. So we're looking for patterns for the amount of hit points and average damage that a creature does compared to the power and toughness of the creature on the Magic the Gathering card itself. But we have more abilities here. So everything I'm seeing here seems to be spot on with what we would expect for a black creature, which is Fear. What is that effect called? Fear. Great black energy. What's its immunities? Exhaustion and poison. We know that poison, its damage resistance is necrotic, immunity is poison, and can't be exhausted or poisoned. So we know that resistance and immunity, if we look at our color guide here, necrotic, poison, and it deals slashing damage, which is, go back to our color guide, slashing damage is no specific color, but necrotic is black and poison is also black. So we're still on point with converting Magic cards to the D&D system. So far, so good. There's a 20-minute timer to make sure we don't get bogged down too much. So I'm going to finish this out. We'll probably be done for the night, and then we'll come back and we'll keep doing these. We had a very rough intro. Sorry about that. I'll get better at it as we go. And then 3 creatures in about an hour and a half. So that means roughly, right now it's about, well, if I get rid of the intro, that'll shave off 15 minutes. So it'll be more like 20 minutes per creature going through this process. So there's 25 creatures in total. We'll get through them. Let's look at these effects. Mounted Adept. While mounted and without the incapacitated condition, the rider has advantage on melee attack rolls against any unmounted creatures smaller than its mount. The rider and its mount have advantage on dexterity saving throws, and the rider can force an attack targeted at its mount to target the rider instead. I love that kind of stuff. I use that with my rangers all the time, allowing the ranger to take damage. I do that with my Spelljammer mechanics too, allowing the pilot to take damage for the ship. I love that stuff. It's so fun. So let's take a look here. Undead Fortitude. If damage reduces the rider to 0 hit points, it must make a Constitution saving throw with a DC equal to 5 plus the damage taken, unless the damage is radiant or from a critical hit. On a success, the rider drops to 1 hit point instead and can continue cheating death. That's very... a zombie has that effect too. That's a really great effect. Undead Fortitude. Great black energy. Mounted Adept. Neutral. Martial. Stuff. Alright, card conversion. So, I mean, overall, this thing's bleeding black. All the stuff that's on the creature, it all feels, according to what I've built, it's all so far, all 3 of these creatures are completely hitting the notes for white, green, and black. That's really promising. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they play out more stuff further down the line. So I like all this stuff. I think it looks great. I love Fell Glare. I think that's awesome. So let's look at the card now. And again, when we're looking at cards that have adventures, these little side pieces, they're things I like to think that you can do once the creature's in the battlefield, like part of the encounter. It can do Deathly Ride, and whether that ride is going to be an at-will, once per round, or once per encounter effect, we'll see what it is. And then we'll look at the rest of what the card is over here as well. So, return when Fell Horseman dies, put it on the bottom of its owner's library. So the card isn't gone for good. It comes back. It'll eventually come back. So the card conversion, honestly, shuffling into library equals Undead Fortitude above. Is great flavor. Castles and Crusades. He does conversions for Magic the Gathering cards into D&D, and I'd hang out with him on stream, and or in his YouTube shorts and stuff, and I'd throw out ideas with him also about how you can convert cards into D&D mechanics, like as a lair or like as spells or magic items, etc., etc. It's a lot of fun doing that, which is where a lot of my assumptions about how the Magic system should work in the D&D game environment, that's where a lot of that came from. Just screwing around and looking at how would you convert a Magic card into D&D mechanics. It's a fun hobby. It's a side hustle, sort of like it's a mini game inside of D&D for sure, but it's fun to do. So let's look at, again, so it looks like we have the Undead Fortitude took care of shuffling the library. We can keep that in mind in the future. If there's something that would have you shuffle the card into your library, we can look at that as a potential Fortitude effect, or like as a reincarnation thing, or like a hard to kill barbarian type stuff. So, adventure, sorcery, 2 mana, Deathly Ride. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. From your graveyard to your hand. So it becomes something that you can use again, but it hasn't actually manifested. But from your graveyard to your hand means it's something that you get to put into play soon. I'm going to say once per round, bonus action, create zombie. $60 feet. This is a third. This is a third CR creature. So looking at our Martial Powers book, our CR conversion, a CR of 3 would be 2nd rank. Would I want it to be able to control 2 undead, any amount of undead? I don't think it needs to be. I don't think it should be limitless. Let's do it like this. We don't have a once per encounter effect, so we'll get rid of that. Create zombie from a corpse within 60 feet. I don't know if that's the language they use, corpse, or if it's supposed to be body or slain creature or whatever. But create zombie from a corpse within 60 feet. The writer can can raise, can have up to 1d6 zombies under its control at any time. Zombie assault. Any zombies under the writer's command can be issued. Any zombies raised by the writer. Any or all. Any number of zombies the writer raised can be commanded to attack a target that can be seen by both the writer and zombies. What is it called? Deadly Ride? Deathly Ride. There we go. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. That's fucking cool. Yeah, fun card, worthwhile. The adventures are neat. I'm enjoying converting those. This is really cool. It's pretty strong for a CR3 to be able to fetch in zombies. That'll make the encounter nice and spicy. And they all have the undead resistance, so that's even better. But I've been at this for about an hour and a half, so I think this is probably a good place to stop before I start getting too harsh. I could come back and do some of this again tomorrow. I've got some free time. Tomorrow's Sunday. I got some free time tomorrow Sunday to do this. I can also do this during lunchtime on Monday, so I think I will. As well as I've got Martial Powers development on Tuesday, so I'm still working on the Battle Master in Martial Powers. If we finish the Battle Master conversion to the mana system this Tuesday, then whatever's left over on this, we can start picking at that. We can start picking at this again then, and we can use our Tuesdays. I think we can get through all 25 this week. I've got some extra time during the week to do this, but I'll be back tomorrow's Sunday, so I'll be unexpectedly on stream again doing some of this tomorrow, and I'll be back on Monday morning, Monday through Friday, to do our coffee morning art jam, to continue artwork for the Spelljammer book. Monday night we'll be back working on NPC characters, character tokens for the Eberron adventure that we're building. If we finish that, we'll start in on our next map assets. Excited about that. Yeah. So if this shit's cool to you, man, like, subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at Phil Kearney. Consider buying some of the books down below to support me if you're a big D&D enthusiast. Otherwise, if you know where I hang out on the Discords, you can clap at me there. And thanks a lot for anyone that's checking this stuff out. I really appreciate your time. So I'll see y'all on the other side, and I hope you have a great night. Thanks a lot.